Hey there, welcome to another deep dive. Ever find yourself kind of swirling that glass of scotch? Just wondering about all that history behind this smoky, complex flavor?
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Totally.
Yeah.
And today, we're going straight to the source, Scotland, Speyside in particular, to uncover the stories behind everyone's favorite whiskeys.
Not just the what, but the why, right?
Exactly. Why does this stuff matter? Grab your curiosity or a glass, why not? Because this deep dive is about to get fascinating. Okay, so someone sent us this article, Sips of History, Whiskey in the Scottish Highlands. And right off the bat, boom, Scotch whiskey distillation all the way back to 1494.
Wow, that's old.
Right. Friar John Core, Isle of Risley. Now we're talking history.
Friar John Core probably using like ancient techniques, laying the groundwork for what we're drinking today. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Those early methods were probably so different from what they're doing now in the big distilleries.
I know, and that's what's so cool about this. But get this, there's this whole mystery about whiskey's origins. We know it was being made way back then, but pinning down the exact where and how, it gets a little fuzzy.
It's true. It really makes you think, like, was it just the Gaelic traditions? Or
Yeah.
because you've got British and Irish influences in the mix, maybe it was something else, maybe even a blend.
Right, like a historical cocktail.
Exactly. For example, some people think that pot stills, those big copper things they use in distilling, might have come from somewhere else entirely.
Interesting. So we've got these different cultures, all possibly adding to what makes Scotch, well, Scotch. And if you want to see this fusion in action,
We're better than Speyside.
Speyside, it really does make you think of like picture postcard landscapes, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A rolling hills, you've got the River Spey winding through these lush green valleys, and all around, tucked away among all that natural beauty distilleries,
For many distilleries.
tons of them. I mean, you can't talk about Speyside without talking about the sheer amount of whiskey being made there.
It's got, what, the highest concentration of distilleries in the whole country?
In all of Scotland, yeah. And not just any old distilleries, some of the most famous names in Scotch come from Speyside. We're talking serious tradition here, generations of craftsmanship. You can really taste that connection to the land.
The water, the barley, I get it. But one thing that really jumped out at me from the article, they kept using this phrase, warm, welcoming communities.
Right.
It'd be easy to just get caught up in the whiskey itself, but there's this whole human element too.
For sure. Behind every bottle, you've got this whole community, people whose families have been making whiskey for like centuries. It's a way of life. Can you imagine visiting those towns, having a dram at the local pub, maybe even getting to talk to a distiller who's keeping that family tradition going?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. It's like, remember those old How It's Made shows? Okay, maybe this is a weird comparison, but
No, I see what you mean.
seeing how things are made, the process behind the product. Visiting Speyside would be like that. But for whiskey, wouldn't it? You're seeing the ingredients, the craft, generations of knowledge all coming together.
It's true. And more than just seeing it, you get to experience it firsthand. You can taste whiskeys right there at the source, learn about the subtle differences between distilleries, even different barrels.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I used to find single malt whiskey a little, I don't know, intimidating. Like you needed to be some kind of expert to really get it.
Right.
But after this conversation, I realize it's more about the connection.
Exactly. And, those connections can be surprisingly personal. What about you? Have you had any experiences with Scotch that have really stuck with you?
Honestly, most of my Scotch experience has been like, oh, this one's smoky, or this one's kind of sweet. Not exactly a pro over here.
But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be a master sommelier to enjoy good Scotch. Every sip, it's a chance to discover something new.
Okay, but let's say, hypothetically, we're not catching a flight to Scotland tomorrow. How do we bring a little bit of that Speyside magic home?
That's where the fun begins. It's like, think about it. You wouldn't buy a postcard without knowing what's on it, right?
True.
Same with your whiskey.
Yeah.
Next time you're browsing the whiskey aisle, and trust me, take your time.
Oh, I will.
Look for those Speyside names we've been talking about. All of a sudden, that bottle isn't just a bottle. It's like a little portal to a different place.
It's like a souvenir from a trip you haven't taken yet. I love that. Okay, so I've got my Speyside Scotch. Now what?
Now it's time to really savor it. Engage all your senses. Find a quiet moment, pour yourself a dram, and pay attention. What are you smelling? Is it floral? Fruity? That signature Speyside sweetness.
See, this is what I need. Usually I'm just worried about spelling.
Practice makes perfect. But seriously, that aroma It adds a whole other dimension to the experience. And don't be afraid to experiment a little. Remember those Scottish flapjacks and hot toddies from the article?
Don't even get me started on those.
Why not try making them? It's amazing how food and drink can transport you. One bite of flapjack, a sip of hot toddy, and boom, you're practically fireside in a cozy Speyside pub.
All right, listeners, I think we've cracked the code. Who needs a plane ticket when you can experience the heart of Speyside right at home? Little curiosity, good bottle, maybe some baking. It's all about making those connections.
Exactly. And isn't that what makes learning so much fun? Uncovering those hidden depths, finding those unexpected connections.
Absolutely. So whether you're a seasoned whiskey connoisseur or just starting to explore the world of Scotch, remember, every bottle tells a story. Take the time to listen. And who knows, maybe you'll even discover your own personal connection to the magic of Speyside.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. And with that, we're wrapping up our deep dive into the history and allure of Speyside whiskey. Until next time, happy sipping, and may your glass be ever full of fascinating stories.